Here's some other notable Sunday transfers. Nothing official right now yet, but according to reports, Fabio Carvalho, Maximilian Bayer, Julian Araujo, and David De Gea. And it's Carvalho going from Brentford to Liverpool.
No,
from Liverpool to Brentford, sorry.
Yeah. He's going to do a round trip, apparently.
Oh, he's not. We've been seeing him in the pre-season as well, scoring and everything. Oh, sorry, Steve.
Worried, yeah.
That would have you worried, wouldn't it?
Back.
There we go. Anyway, there'll be a lot more official information on all of this stuff and a lot better delivered than I just did over on ESPN.com, where you can also keep up to date with ranking the Premier League's top 50 players for 24-25. This is an article that's been written by ESPN's Ryan O'Hanlon. He's ranked the top 50 players in the Premier League this season, or who he expects to be in that top 10. And this is what we're looking at right now. It's number 1, Rodri, but I just wanted to pick out a couple here, especially in number 7, Stevie. We see Trent Alexander-Arnold. Do you think he is going to be one of the most important players this season?
Lukaku. Well, it depends where he plays. I mean, these things are so subjective, and Trent, there is not a more subjective player on the planet than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because at right back, as a defender, he's an absolute disaster. But as a right back, going forward, is there anybody better? The way he comes late, the way he delivers balls, the way he can score goals and create. For what he does on the attacking half of the field, absolutely in the top 10. But then there are different things that come into football. It's not just about one thing. And particularly if you play as a defender, you have to do a bit of defending. So from that point of view, he shouldn't be in the top 10. So it's all subjective.
Well, we also see a couple of names in there that's interesting. But Gab, before we do move on from talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold, there's a bit of an inquisitive look from you there, Gab.
No, I think this list, I mean, just reading through Ryan's methodology, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but one of the explanations, it's based on this guy whose name escapes me now, but I think he's a former chess grandmaster. He's Swedish, and he builds a model that's a statistical model that's based on many different inputs, but in some ways, it's essentially what you might call a plus-minus model from basketball or ice hockey, which is sort of, is the productivity higher when this player is on the pitch? And so it tends to favor more attacking players. It's a way to evaluate players. Obviously, when Rodri's on the pitch, City almost always win, right? So that's why Rodri's first. But Lisandro Martinez is in 50th place because he obviously doesn't give you the attacking oomph that Trent does. So one of the knocks, I think, it does tend to some people feel, somewhat overrate attacking players. And then you get into philosophical argument about apples and oranges and whatever else. But yeah, those who like to point out Trent's deficiencies defensively will be shocked to see him in 7th place.
There is no chance, honestly, in any list, when it comes to Liverpool players, that Virgil van Dijk would be lower than Trent Alexander-Arnold. In terms of the importance of the player to that team and how successful the team will be if Virgil van Dijk has a good season as compared to Trent Alexander-Arnold having a good season. If Liverpool want to win this league, Virgil van Dijk has to have a great season, outstanding. He has to be among the best players in the league. That's how important he is to that club. So when you come up with this list, and I respect that these things are subjective, and I respect that people may look at different statistical variations and kind of look at variations that fit your criteria and fit your narrative. But I think this goes beyond narrative. Virgil van Dijk has to be higher than Trent Alexander-Arnold in any list.
You know where the mistake is made?
Where?
Should have used Shaka's algorithm.
Right.
Oh, well.
Ryan's a big analytics guy.
This.
He is a big analytics guy. He knows his methods. He explains them in the article.
Shaka should have been on this.
Shaka would have changed it all. Frank, Trent Alexander-Arnold's importance this season.
Yeah, he's an important player offensively. And Stevie, exactly said what I 100% think about Trent. One of the best, or if he's not the best player offensively, and sorry, but one of the worst defensively if he plays as a right back. So it's a tricky list that Ryan tried to put in order, and of course it's very subjective, and it's also, I don't want to be too harsh on that because I think he worked hard for hours in order to put that list of 50 players, but it's impossible. How do you want to compare? It's like the Ballon d'Or, and again I go back to that. We are trying to make differences or judge players who don't play in the same positioning. That's impossible. That's impossible. And Rodri's importance, and it's been said, on the fact that he plays in the middle of the park and the importance that he makes him being the best, comparing to a goalkeeper or comparing to a striker. It's hard to say, it's hard to compare, it's hard to notify. So we are playing a collective sport. Why do we try to individualize all the players and rank them, comparing them to something it's not possible to? So well done, Ryan, good work, but again, very subjective.
Frank, we love a ranking and a list here on ESPN FC, and if you're not careful, we'll be giving you rankings for the season ahead.
Yes.
So,
We got an algorithm.
Oh yeah, but I will call Ryan and Shaka before the show to make sure that I have a spot on one.
number 3, Ryan's got Martin Odegaard. Stevie.
Why are you sitting back?
Well, because I don't want to just repeat everything that Frank said, but if there was ever an example of what Frank said, it's Martin Odegaard. You know, in my eyes, could Arsenal win the league without Odegaard? Maybe. Maybe not.
What is it?
So, well, I don't know. It's not. So, for him to be the third best under those circumstances doesn't really add up. So, listen, as I said,
Saliba is better than. Sorry, Stevie, to jump on you, but if you think that Odegaard is third in that list, you should put Saliba first, because Saliba has been more important than Odegaard all season long. So it's why it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, because if Saliba doesn't play for Arsenal this year, they ain't winning the Premier League. So,
Gab.
Voila, exactly. Voila.
Gab.
Gab's got that face where he's like, what
I'm about to own you.
What are they on about?
No. All I want to say is, this is, and again, Ryan's methodology is complex and everything. The reason Saliba wouldn't rank high, like I said, like Van Dijk, like Lisandro Martinez, is these are not players who provide a lot of assists. They do not score a lot of goals. They they don't do a lot of useful things in the final third of the pitch. And so they get penalized in this kind of ranking. I'm not sticking up for it. Don't shoot the messenger.
I think that Gab should write the article, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No!
No, Gab, you cannot say that, Gab. We are not thinking that the player is better to another player, especially if he plays a number 10 or a 9, comparing to a centre-back because he makes more assists or goals than the others. So he's the most valuable player. He makes people coming to the stands, maybe Odegaard, but he's not more important than Saliba. And Saliba has proven in the last 2 seasons that he's more important than Odegaard. And we don't care if he put assists or score goals.
Well, Odegaard was pretty good. He had big numbers 2 seasons ago, especially. I think he's improved. But leaving that aside, I'm just telling you, these types of models tend to favor those players. And by the way, and I appreciate what you said before, Frank, about how it's a collective game and we can't separate out the individual from the collective. But let me ask you this. The Ballon d'Or, the crowning prize of France football, isn't that all a vote for the individual in a collective sport? If you don't have a problem with that, probably shouldn't have a problem with Ryan ranking players based on whatever methodology he chooses, right?
Yeah, but they don't ask players.
Well, I guess, Gab, you didn't follow me for the past 10 years on the ESPN show talking about the Ballon d'Or. I can ask Ali and Kay and Stevie what I think about the Ballon d'Or. Is the worst. It's an insult of football, the Ballon d'Or. So I'm with you.
I agree.
But Gab, that's the thing. If you ask players, and I'm assuming the huge majority of players think the Ballon d'Or is an absolute lot of tosh. It's all media and outsiders that think that we should be doing this Ballon d'Or nonsense. You ask players, we're like, that's a lot of garbage. It's unfair. It's not a fair comparison.
Sorry. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi are players, right?
Oh, they love it.
I'm pretty sure they don't think the Ballon d'Or is nonsense.
Yeah, of course.
Look, I'm with you guys. I don't hate the Ballon d'Or as much as Craig does, but I'm pretty darn close. You guys need to have Jules on to defend the importance of the Ballon d'Or. Jules will tell you the players are obsessed with the Ballon d'Or. The top players all want to win it. Kylian Mbappe loves the Ballon d'Or. Erling Haaland loves the Ballon d'Or.
The forward players.
Neymar, forget about it.
So there's probably like 8 players who love it, and everybody else understands it's a lot of tosh.
The ones who win it,
love it,
the ones who win it tend to really like it.
Exactly. You're right, Gab. It's only the 10 guys who can win it, and they're all forward who love the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
The others, they hate it, of course.
I can tell you this much, and this is a message to Ryan O'Hanlon, right? Is his name?
It's Ryan O'Hanlon, yeah.
I appreciate the effort, right? And I think what Frank said, I'm sure he put in a lot of work and came up with his own criteria, but it's an impossible task, and it's a thankless task, because whatever you list would have come up with, we would have sat here and gone, what? No, what?
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why you write the article to begin with. It's just a thankless task.
Yeah, he did it to just annoy you guys on the.
Probably.
He's actually on our digital.
Somebody got to know.
He is on our digital shows a lot. He's a big analytics guy. So as Gab was saying earlier, he'll use a lot of different methods to put these articles together.
We don't
He's a great
analyze
guy
anything.
As well. So yeah, Frank, we'll get you rating the list next time if you want. We'll give Ryan a break.
An article. I think a joint article of Gab and Frank together. It'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Gab, when are we going to see Gab and Jules back together?
On Thursday, in fact. Maybe we should get Jules to comment on this, and I might run some of those Ballon d'Or comments past Jules. So this is something he gets really pent up about. Every time I make fun of the Ballon d'Or, he's like, no, the players really care about it. It's really important. So yes, you guys, you need to troll Jules about the Ballon d'Or next time you get him on. But he and I, we're going to be back on Thursday. It's our first show of the season.
Jules, I'm sorry, but Jules is part of the media, correct? So he loves the Ballon d'Or.
You're just a defender, so you hate it because they favour the forwards, Frank. That's what it's all about.